Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to be applying some of the functions and syntax that you learned in the previous videos to explore and clean a data set. So this data set here is one that we actually took from a Data 100 project, and it's actually a list of all of the restaurants in San Francisco, or in the San Francisco area and surrounding. So right here we have a business ID column which has which gives you a unique business ID for each restaurant, the name of the restaurant, address, city, zip code, the latitude and longitude, as well as the phone number associated with each shop. So when you first explore your data set, as you are probably doing with your data set for your project, one thing you want to do is just first look through it and see if anything jumps out at you. So when I look through this, I see each of these is unique and it seems like it's sorted by the business ID number. The name of each cafe, I see that there's a difference in terms of some are all uppercase, some are all are lowercase. So that might be something that we want to clean up just to make sure that there's consistency. And it seems that it's the same with the address. Some of them are lowercase, some of them are uppercase, so we might want to clean that up. City, everything seems to be from San Francisco, California. Same with the zip codes. It seems that some of them are invalid, but most are not. Most are valid. And what jumps up most is in these three columns, we see that there's a lot of negative 9999. And what that is likely indicates is that there's no valid longitude or latitude or phone number for that shop. And so what we would want to do in this video is clean that up and get rid of all of those that don't have valid locations and phone numbers so that we're getting a smaller subset and a more valid subset. So the first thing we would want to do is clean up these three columns. So one way to do that is to use the filter function. And so what that is, we do equal filter. And the first thing we want to do is grab everything within these columns. And so you can either say A to I, as you can see it highlights, or you can just simply click like this and it grabs everything. So that's all of the data we want to consider. And in the next aspect, that's the condition we want to put. So just like we have if-else conditions, over here what we want to do is put the condition that if this is true, then that's what we want to keep in our data set. So if we want to do phone number first, what we want to do is say for everything in the column of I, we want to grab everything that's greater than negative 9999. And what that should give us is all of the restaurants that have a valid phone number. And that's what we get. Yeah, so as you can see here, all of the phone numbers are valid. We don't have any more of those placeholder, the negative 999 placeholders for null values. Okay, so now that we've cleaned up the phone numbers, what is evident is that there's a lot of null longitudes and latitudes. But one good thing is that if the longitude is null, so is the latitude. So what we can do is we don't necessarily need to filter both columns. We can just filter one column and that should be enough. So again, we would do filter. And now we want to grab everything within the columns of K to S because we want to make sure that we're not filtering the original data set, but rather we want to filter the data set we've already filtered the phone numbers for. So let's grab everything from K to S. And then we want to make sure we're grabbing everything. You can choose either Q or R. I'm just going to choose R in this one. Is greater than negative 9999. Yeah. Okay. So now what we have is we have majority of, it seems that all of the restaurants that we have now have valid longitudes, latitudes, and phone numbers. And so it's evident to see that just by cleaning up those three columns, we've gotten rid of most of the restaurants that had null values. Now, there are a couple over here that still need cleaning up. So what we can do is we can do the same thing, but on that. Um, yeah. So it seems that most of it is cleaned up now. And now it's more nitpicky where now we have all the valid data. What we could do now is just to clean up the name and address columns. We can make sure that all of the values within those two columns are uppercase so that they're easier to read and analyze later on. So what I can do here, let's call this name capitalized. And we say upper and everything. So what we would want to do here is actually do AF2 to AF. So AF to AF would grab the whole column, but AF2 starts from row 2 and then grabs the whole column. And that's because we don't want the header, the name of the column, to come in this column since we already have it named. Okay, so now what's happened here? Only the first, it seems that only the first value, so whatever was in row 2 came over here. So in these instances, actually what you would want to do is called array formula. And then do that. And so what that does is that it makes sure that it grabs everything in the column, and you could think of it as an array, which we've gone over for pandas in Python. And it applies the upper function to each value in that array, or for in this case, each value for each row. So now if we do it, yeah, so now we can see everything has come up and everything is uppercase. Let's just clean this up a bit and oops. There you go. And now let's do the same thing for address. You want to do the same thing. So array formula, upper, and a G2 to a G. And yep. So that is it. I encourage you to explore some of the other functions as well and apply them to your own data set if you do plan to use Sheets to clean it up. Or even if you don't, it's just great practice. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, come ask questions through office hours, and enjoy the rest of the lecture.